I think the important thing is, as difficult as it is in this environment, is try to remain calm and try and maintain a sense of calm. It's very easy in this environment to get completely carried away and get eclipsed by fear. And a lot of that is a function of the fact that there's just so much uncertainty in the market. There's so much volatility, there's so much uncertainty. But it's a cycle, and it's a cycle that we've been through before, as you alluded to. We saw it in the late 80s, we saw it in the 90s again, we saw it in the 2000, 2002. It's a cycle, and this too will pass. I mean, ultimately, it's a very difficult cycle to be in, and it's very difficult to maintain a sense of perspective. But those of us who've been around have been through these cycles before, and this cycle, we will come out of this cycle. I think what we've seen over the last 12 to 18 months is a significant repricing in assets. And as that price has moved down to levels that we haven't seen in years, in a more normalized market environment going forward, it creates tremendous buying opportunities for us now to effectively buy assets at significantly lower prices than we otherwise have seen in several years. Well, if you take a step back and you look at the point in time at which the economy really started to show vulnerability, it really started almost a couple years ago with the meltdown in the subprime market. And as people were over-leveraged and they could no longer really afford to support their subprime mortgages as they begin to reset and you start to see defaults creep into the market, it created a huge collateral impact across many spectrums of the financing market. So first the subprime market starts to melt down, it migrates into the CDO market, it migrates into the CMBS market, it further migrates over into the corporate debt and the corporate bond markets. As the credit market begins to freeze and there's no credit availability, it really starts to create a crisis of confidence across all spectrums of the economy. And so now we're in a situation where the market is completely beset by paranoia, and you're seeing it play out in all aspects of the economy. Well, I can tell you what it means in the context of Griffin Capital. You know, currently we have an investment portfolio. It's about $1 billion of assets. We have $1 billion of assets under management, all real estate assets. We have a series of different syndications in the market that we've raised over the past several years. And if our asset base consists of $1 billion, we've got about 8.2 million square feet of space in 39 assets in a dozen different states. And there isn't a single asset in that portfolio in which we do not have a vested economic interest, into which we have not invested our own capital. So if we have today maybe 500, 550 individual investors, there isn't a single investor that we're not standing shoulder to shoulder with respect to our commitment, our economic commitment to the individual asset. Well, it's a good question, and I would answer it this way. Integrity, as it relates to our relationship with our investors, is critical to maintain a rapport with those investors in the face of everything that's going on, particularly in this market environment. And what we've found is investors are more responsive to us and are more appreciative of us to the extent that we communicate, and communicate effectively and communicate often. And as much as there's so much volatility and so much uncertainty in this market, and people are so nervous and as you alluded to earlier, so fearful of what's going on in the market, to the extent that we can reach out and communicate and let the investors know specifically what's going on with respect to their investments and put them at ease that not everything is going wrong, not everything is terrible, that they've got fundamentally sound investments, that we're taking care of those investments, that we're the guardians of those investments, which is where the Griffin came from. That element of integrity, that element of trust really kind of comes through. In this market today, as we've been talking about for the duration of time we've been sitting here, again, there's so much fear, and there's so much pent-up fear, there's so much real fear, and there's so much volatility in the market, and people are getting so used to and accustomed to getting slapped in the face every day when they flip on CNBC to find out what's going on with the market. Me personally, I could use an investment vehicle that is not going to keep me up at night. I could use something in this environment that will maintain for me internally a sense of calm. I could use something that's boring, something I don't have to worry about, something that allows me to sleep at night. I want something boring, and I don't think I'm alone. And I think it's a great time to have a product in the market that offers some comfort with respect to your principal and some comfort with respect to some stability of income, and not have to worry about every element or every aspect of your portfolio being subject to these wild market volatility swings.